Hello everyone, and welcome to another video from the Lancashire Explorer. Again, another audio visual. I also like to apologise if there's any kind of like obviously now I'm stuttering and stuff, so I'll let you into a secret that I do suffer with something called FND, which obviously sometimes affects my speech, so I'm sorry if I do pause in regards to this video. Anyway, moving on. What we are looking into today is the new Victoria / Gaumont Theatre, which is in Bradford, West Yorkshire. And what was to become one of the largest cinemas in England outside of the capital was to be built on an island site that had become occupied by William Whittaker's brewery on Brewery Street, which is now known as Prince's Way. The huge structure was commissioned in 1929 by provincial cinematograph theatres, who were on the cusp of being taken over by Gaumont British Cinemas, and claimed to be their first purpose-built cinema for the talkies in proper acoustic specification. Also providing a cine variety theatre of 3,500 seats, reduced to 3,318 before opening, also to include a vast ballroom, a cafe, tea lounge, and a large restaurant that could cater for in excess of 200 diners. They had two self-contained flats providing accommodation for the resident manager and chief engineer, who were an integral part to the structure. The architect was Bradford alderman William Illingworth Friba, which is basically Friba, who designed this striking, unique multi-entertainment red brick building with an impressive budget of £250,000. The main building contractor was McLaughlin and Harvey Limited. The company proudly boasted that 2 million bricks and 1,000 tons of steel were used in its complex construction and secured employment in excess of 500 Bradford builders, it's quite impressive with this, which took just 6 months to construct this mega building and over four months to fit it out. Most of the materials used were sourced from local companies. The enormous fan-shaped auditorium was to have seating on 3 levels. Obviously this was stalls, circle and balcony. The Crescent Stalls lounge spanned 150 feet in width across the rear of the stalls. There were 6 entrances and aisles, which were reduced to 5 aisles in the front stalls area. Both the circle and balcony had 5 aisles and side gangways. To describe the citadel-style facade as impressive would be an understatement. With what was to become the iconic dome-top octagonal tower entrances that bookended on left and right, the huge central sweeping curve of Flemish bond brickwork and white terracotta blocks at ground elevation and similar faced tiles and supports, adding rich decoration to windows, columns, etc. at higher levels. Internally, these 2 entrances led into a fabulous crush hall stalls foyer that spanned the length of the rear stalls with an ornate marble fireplace positioned midway. Stall, circle and balcony foyers were superbly fit out with walls richly decorated in Italian-style damask paper with pillars placed at intervals, huge settees, deep pile carpets with lashings of polished brass handrails, ornate mirrors and potted palms completed the luxurious theme. To speed access, lifts were provided on all levels. The architect, William Illingworth, set out designing a spectacular and luxurious auditorium that could be enjoyed by all members of the audience, no matter how much they had paid for their seat. The stalls accommodated 2,065 patrons. The mezzanine circle had 509 seats, with a further 732 seats in the balcony, He took extreme care that the circle and balcony overhang over the stalls area was kept to a minimum so that everyone had a splendid view of this magnificent auditorium with its beautifully decorated walls and ceiling. The central modelled illuminated dome was 70 feet in diameter, coloured orange at the base and disappearing into a variety of subtle tints at the crown. This arrangement was helped with the acoustics that sometimes could be troublesome in such a vast area. To further assist good acoustics, the auditorium walls were fully lined with hair felt before the top layer of rich rose-coloured damask was applied. Subtle tones of bathstone tints and pinks completed the quality ambience. The uniquely brilliant design of the balcony being split into a front section called the circle, and then at another level a much higher rear section called the balcony, giving two separate circles with minimum overhang to the stalls area. The projection room was positioned under the front of the circle level with a distance throw from the projectors to the screen of 140 feet. Display walls were established with 6 pilasters that formed the intricate grillwork and illuminated niches on each wall. Between display walls and circle were a series of high arches that formed exclusive boxes. Attention was drawn towards a magnificent gilded, 3-tiered, bordered proscenium. Forgive me if I haven't said that right. Each section illuminated with concealed lighting that changed colour. Perfect sightlines of the stage and orchestra pit were achieved from all viewpoints of the auditorium. The stage area was fully equipped, including a fly tower, safety curtain, scenery dock, a hand-crank full-width moving stage platform that moved from the rear of the stage towards the footlights, capable of carrying a complete orchestra forward. There were 12 dressing rooms that included orchestra and chorus rooms. The stage area was huge, with a total width, including the wings, of 70 foot and a depth of 45 foot. The proscenium was 50 foot wide, with a height of 35 feet. A massive 2.5-ton screen frame with variable masking control was fit to give an expanding effect. The original screen was an impressive 50 feet by 30 feet. The frame could be lifted, flown by means of a counterweight system. The screen was set back 10 feet back from the floodlights with a distance of nearly 170 foot from the furthest row of seats in the rear of the balcony. The installation of the stage and auditorium lighting was under the supervision of E.C. Nichols, the chief engineer for the owners. A 3-manual 10-rank style 220 Wurlitzer pipe organ was installed in the deeply curved orchestra pit. The console was on a lift that raised it to stage level. The organ chambers were located in the roof void, with the sound entering through the grillwork above the stage. The large projection room was equipped with 3 Cali projectors, 2 follow spots and a side lantern. British acoustic sound equipment capable of reproducing sound from either disc recording or film, optical recording. British Acoustic used a special type of light-sensitive selenium cell, resulting in a pure and crisp sound with amplifier power of 90 to 100 watts output to 12 moving coil loudspeakers in the auditorium. A duplicate amplifier could be switched into action if the main amplifier failed. On Monday the 22nd of September 1930, people started to gather outside the new cinema at 10 a.m. Mounted police were brought in to manage the huge crowds that had quickly assembled. The Lord Mayor of Bradford, Alderman Angus R. Rhodes, together with other civic dignitaries and distinguished guests, were present at the grand opening ceremony. The spectacular stage and screen presentations marked the occasion. The magnificent Wurlitzer organ was played by Leslie James. The first movie shown was Rookery Nook, starring Ralph Lynn, Winfred Schotter, Tom Walls and Robertson Hare. On the outbreak of World War II, the stage performances ceased, with concentration on screen entertainment and organ interludes, providing the entertainment to the enormous audiences that the New Victoria enjoyed during the heyday era of British cinema. However, the live stage performances returned in the 1950s and 60s. The cinema was the largest indoor concert venue in the north of England and was a popular choice for touring singers and groups. The building was renamed Gaumont during September 1950, followed by refurbishment 4 years later when the interior decoration was rejuvenated and seats and carpets were replaced. A fabulous chandelier was installed, suspended from the huge central ceiling dome. In the same year, 1954, at the cost of £6,500. The Gaumont became the first cinema in the city to have CinemaScope installed, together with stereophonic sound that gave 3 channels, left, centre, right, behind the screen. The surround sound was not used as 20th Century Fox decided against the high cost of subsidising the installation of surround speakers on 3 levels in such a large auditorium. The first film shown in the new ratio was on Tuesday the 2nd of February 1954. How to Marry a Millionaire, starring Marilyn Monroe. A new tubular screen frame was installed for CinemaScope, which was too heavy to be flown up. The solution was to mount the frame onto rollers so that it could be pushed back when the stage presentations took place. During the 1950s, there was a revival in the stage shows. Despite the success of the stage shows, which saw top international and UK artists appear in front of capacity audiences, the Gaumont's business in general went into sharp decline. The decision was taken by its owners, Rank, to convert the building into twin cinemas and bingo. Prudence and the Pill, starring Deborah Kerr and David Niven, and Rio Conchos, starring Richard Boone, were the final film to be screened on the original big single screen auditorium on the 30th of November 1968. Work commenced on the £370,000 project, and the new top-ranked bingo and audience screens 1 and 2 were constructed with 3 individual shells. The first conversion by Rank to have twin cinemas and bingo under one roof. Architects from the internal conversion were Gavin Patterson and Sons. Main contractors were Stephen Easton Limited of Newcastle upon Tyne. Interior designers were Trevor and Mavis Stone Limited. Bingo took over the original stalls, whilst 2 cinemas were formed when the circles were made into a single level and divided. This side-by-side arrangement was made possible by the extreme width of the rear stalls of 150 feet. The alteration took 9 months to complete. The octagonal dome towers were now used for the entry of the 1,000-seat top-ramp bingo. The former restaurant was later converted to a machine bingo hall with a separate entrance in Thornton Road. The cinema entrance, dominated by a giant illuminated readograph, was formed centrally between the towers where the former entrance of the ballroom was previously accessed. A new double staircase led customers up to a new foyer lounge that followed the curve of the original auditorium. On this level, the former tea room that had been located in the South Tower was now a licensed bar, decorated with futuristic murals by Trevor Stone. The new auditorium seated 1,200 people and 467 people. The Odeon Cinema Centre Gala opening took place on Thursday the 21st of August 1965 with, on screen 1, Funny Girl starring Barbra Streisand, Omar Sharif and Walter Pidgeon, and on screen 2 was Chitty Chitty Bang Bang starring Dick Van Dyke and Sally Ann Howes. The bingo operation at a later date came after the cinemas. The ballroom became redundant. However, during February 1988, plans had been drawn up for this large area to be transformed into a 3rd cinema. Work commenced to strip out many of the original detail and fittings that included a removal of the large centrepiece pendant house light fitting. Stud walls partitioned the areas to form the auditorium, proscenium, projection room and ancillary rooms. A suspended ceiling hid most of the original plasterwork, although some of the ornate pilasters were retained, reguiled and incorporated into the new third cinema's design. A new wooden ranked step floor was installed to ensure good sightlessness for all 244 seats that were arranged in 3 blocks. The screen was a moderate side of 25 feet to 11 feet. Odeon 3 opened on Thursday the 23rd of June 1988 with Crocodile Dundee 2, starring Paul Hogan, Linda Kowalski and John Millian. To focus attention on the opening of the new screen, both Odeon 1 and 2 closed that evening. Derek Mann, who had been the general manager since the late Gaumont days, was still in charge at this time. The bingo operations ceased in the summer of 1997 when the business is transferred to a new Mecca Bingo on Little Horton Lane. 3 years later, the cinemas closed on Sunday the 2nd of July 2000. The final film Chicken Run was shown on the largest screen, Odeon 2. A new Odeon 13 screen cinema opened on the 7th of July 2000 at Gallagher Leisure Park, Thornbury. The building was left derelict and under constant threat of demolition when plans were put forward to build offices and apartments on the site. In 2002, local residents came together to fight to have the building preserved and restored. In 2019, it was reported that a new future for the Odeon as a live music venue was in the offering. Bradford Live, a not-for-profit charitable company founded in 2012, was granted the right to redevelop the building in 2014, and in March 2018 they secured initial funding and together with the NEC Group have been working on plans for the regeneration of the building and bringing it back into a single large space building capable of seating 3,500 or 4,000 with standing in the former stalls area. Work commenced on the restoration of the former New Victoria's massive auditorium late in 2018. At the time of recording this video, they have restored nearly all of the cinema now and is due to open in November of this year. So if you go on the Bradford Live website, you will see obviously artists' impressions. You'll also see all the work that they've done to this fantastic building and also the names of the first couple of acts that are going to appear there. So once again, thank you for listening to this video. It's been a pretty long one, nearly 18 minutes. I hope you've enjoyed the history of Bradford Gaumont Theatre. If you have, please like, share and subscribe. This helps my channel. Thank you for listening and goodbye.